He was invincible, unstoppable, the greatest warrior who ever lived. Gods feared him. Armies ran from him. He captured 12 cities in 9 years. Nobody, not man, not God, could kill him, except one tiny spot on his body, a spot so small, most people never even notice it. And the most shocking truth of all? His own mother created that weakness while trying to save his life. The story of Achilles begins before he was even born. His mother Thetis was a sea nymph, one of the 50 daughters of the Old Man of the Sea. She was so beautiful that both Zeus, king of the gods, and Poseidon, god of the seas, wanted to marry her. But then a terrifying prophecy stopped them both cold. The son of Thetis would be greater than his father. Zeus and Poseidon immediately backed away. They arranged for Thetis to marry a mortal man instead, Peleus, king of the Myrmidons. Because a son greater than a mortal king was far less dangerous than a son greater than Zeus himself. When Achilles was born, Thetis made a desperate choice. Knowing her son was destined to die young in battle, she tried everything to make him immortal. Some accounts say she held him over a sacred fire every night, burning away his mortality piece by piece. She rubbed him with divine ambrosia, the food of the gods. But the most famous account says she took baby Achilles to the underworld, to the River Styx, the most powerful river in all of existence. The water that flows between the living world and the land of the dead. She dipped him in. Every part of his body became invincible. His skin could not be cut. His bones could not be broken. No arrow, no sword, no spear could pierce him, except one small spot, his left heel, where her fingers gripped him, where the water never touched. Achilles was raised in Phthia with his childhood companion Patroclus, a boy who had been exiled from his home after accidentally killing another child over a game of dice. These two would become inseparable. Achilles was also sent to be trained by Chiron, the most righteous centaur in all of mythology, half man, half horse. Chiron had trained other legendary heroes before, including Hercules and Jason. Under Chiron, Achilles mastered warfare, medicine, music, and the arts. He was not just a fighter, he was a complete warrior, mind, body, and soul. When Achilles was just 9 years old, a seer made a terrifying prediction. Achilles would die heroically in battle against the Trojans. The moment Thetis heard this, she disguised him as a girl and sent him to live on the Aegean island of Skyros. There, among the daughters of King Lycomedes, Achilles lived under the name Pyrrha, meaning the red-haired girl, the greatest warrior who would ever live hiding in a dress. He lived there for years. He even fathered a child with one of Lycomedes' daughters, a son named Neoptolemus, who would himself become a great warrior. But destiny cannot be hidden forever. The prophet Calchas told the Greeks they could not win the Trojan War without Achilles. Odysseus, the cleverest man in all of Greece, went to Skyros disguised as a merchant. He spread out his goods before the daughters of Lycomedes. Beautiful jewels, expensive fabrics, rings and bracelets, and hidden among them a sword and a shield. Every girl reached for the jewels and fabrics, except one. One reached immediately for the sword. Odysseus looked at this person and said, "Young man, your dress is that of a girl, but your eyes are those of a warrior. You are Achilles." Destiny had found him. The Trojan War began when Zeus decided to reduce Earth's overwhelming mortal population. He arranged a beauty contest between the goddesses Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite, judged by Paris, Prince of Troy. Each goddess offered Paris a bribe. Aphrodite offered him the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen, wife of King Menelaus of Sparta. Paris accepted. He sailed to Sparta, won Helen's heart, and took her back to Troy. Menelaus was furious. He called upon all the kings of Greece to help him retrieve his wife. 1,000 ships were launched. The greatest war in history had begun. And Achilles, finally free of his disguise, joined with his legendary Myrmidons, the most feared soldiers in all of Greece. On the battlefield, Achilles became something beyond human. During the first 9 years of the Trojan War alone, he ravaged the lands around Troy and captured 12 entire cities. He killed dozens of Troy's greatest warriors. He was so terrifying that entire armies would break and flee the moment they saw his golden armor approaching. Even gods took sides in this war, some helping the Greeks, some helping the Trojans, because they knew that without divine intervention, Achilles alone might end this war single-handedly. He was not just a great soldier, he was a force of nature. But then came the moment that nearly destroyed everything. During the 10th year of the war, Achilles captured a beautiful Trojan woman named Briseis. He fell deeply in love with her. Then Agamemnon, king of the Greek army, made a catastrophic decision. He took Briseis from Achilles for himself. Achilles was absolutely furious. He confronted Agamemnon directly, calling him greedy, cowardly, and unworthy of leadership. Agamemnon refused to back down, and Achilles made a decision that would cost thousands of lives. He withdrew from the war entirely. He sat in his tent. He refused to fight, despite the fact his own men were dying around him. Without Achilles, the Greeks began to fall apart. Battle after battle they lost. The Trojans, led by the noble prince Hector, greatest warrior of Troy, pushed the Greek army all the way back to their ships. The Greeks were burning. The situation was desperate. Agamemnon himself admitted he had made a terrible mistake. He sent ambassadors to Achilles with enormous gifts: gold, horses, women, the return of Briseis. Achilles refused everything. His rage was beyond reason now. Patroclus, Achilles' closest friend, could not bear to watch any longer. He went to Achilles weeping. He begged him, "If you won't fight, at least let me wear your armor. Let the Trojans think you have returned. It will scare them away from the ships." Achilles agreed, but gave Patroclus one crucial warning. "Drive them away from the ships. Nothing more. Do not pursue them toward Troy. Come back to me safely." Patroclus agreed. He put on the golden armor of Achilles. The moment the Trojans saw that golden armor approaching, they froze in terror. The plan was working perfectly, until Patroclus forgot the one warning Achilles gave him. Patroclus drove the Trojans back from the ships. He fought brilliantly. He even killed Sarpedon, a son of Zeus himself. Exhilarated by success, he forgot Achilles' warning. He pushed forward toward the very walls of Troy, and that's when Apollo intervened. The god struck Patroclus from behind, removing his armor, destroying his weapons, leaving him completely defenseless. And Hector, the greatest warrior of Troy, drove his spear through Patroclus. As Patroclus lay dying, Hector stood over him. With his last breath, Patroclus whispered a prophecy. "You will not live long either, Hector. Death and destiny are waiting for you too." Then he was gone. Hector stripped Achilles' golden armor from the body, and a messenger ran to deliver the worst news of Achilles' life. When Achilles heard that Patroclus was dead, something inside him shattered completely. He threw himself to the ground weeping. He tore the hair from his head. He smeared himself with ash and dust. He screamed so loud, his mother Thetis heard his cries from the depths of the sea and came running. His friend Antilochus held his hands, fearing Achilles would kill himself in grief. Thetis came and held her son as he wept, and Achilles made a vow, a terrible, devastating vow. "Hector will die for this, even if I must follow him to death immediately after." Thetis went immediately to Hephaestus, divine blacksmith of the gods, and begged him to forge new armor for her son. Hephaestus worked through the night, creating the most magnificent armor ever made. The shield of Achilles was described in extraordinary detail by Homer, depicting the entire universe on its surface: the earth, the sky, the sea, cities at war and at peace, vineyards, wedding celebrations, courts of justice. The entire human experience captured on a single divine shield. When Achilles put on this armor, even the gods trembled. Achilles returned to the battlefield. And what happened next became the most terrifying display of warfare in all of mythology. He was a one-man killing machine. He fought all who stood against him. He even challenged a river god, the Scamander River, when it rose up trying to stop him from killing so many Trojans. The river nearly drowned him. Achilles didn't stop. He slaughtered his way through the entire Trojan army, searching for one man: Hector. Hector saw Achilles coming. He stood outside the walls of Troy waiting. But as Achilles approached, Hector's courage failed him. He turned and ran. Achilles chased him around the walls of Troy 3 full times. Finally, Hector stopped. He offered a deal. The winner would return the loser's body for proper burial. Achilles looked at him with eyes full of rage and grief and said, "There are no deals between lions and men. Stop begging me. I would eat your raw flesh myself if I could." They fought. Achilles drove his spear into Hector's neck. As Hector lay dying, he begged one last time for his body to be returned to his family. Achilles refused. With his last breath, Hector whispered his final prophecy. "You will die soon too, Achilles. Paris and Apollo are coming for you." Achilles' grief and rage were still not satisfied. He tied Hector's body to the back of his chariot and dragged it around the walls of Troy for 11 straight days. The Trojans watched from the walls weeping. Hector's father Priam, his mother Hecuba, his wife Andromache, all watching their greatest hero being dishonored in the dust. The gods themselves were disturbed by this. Apollo protected Hector's body from damage, but Achilles would not stop. Then something happened that nobody expected. Old King Priam, father of Hector, king of Troy, came alone to Achilles' tent in the middle of the night. Guided by the god Hermes, he fell at Achilles' feet and kissed the very hands that had killed his son. He said, "I have done what no father should ever do. I have kissed the hands of the man who killed my child. Please, give me back my son's body." Achilles wept. For the first time since Patroclus' death, he truly wept, not from rage, from shared grief. He saw in Priam's eyes the same pain he felt for Patroclus. He returned Hector's body and declared a truce for the funeral. Hector's dying prophecy came true faster than anyone expected. Paris, brother of Hector, was not a brave warrior. He preferred arrows from a distance to face-to-face combat. He ambushed Achilles near the gates of Troy, and Apollo, still angry at Achilles for killing his son Tennis years earlier, guided Paris' arrow perfectly. It struck Achilles in the heel, that one tiny unprotected spot, where his mother's fingers had held him above the River Styx all those years ago. The greatest warrior who ever lived, never defeated in battle, died not from a warrior's blow but from a guided arrow to his one small weakness. Still undefeated, still unconquered, but gone. In Homer's Odyssey, Odysseus travels to the underworld and meets Achilles there among the dead. He greets Achilles as blessed, saying, "You were mighty in life and now you rule among the dead." But Achilles responds with something that shocks everyone. He says, "I would rather be a slave to the worst of masters on earth than be king of all the dead." Even in death, Achilles longed for life, for battle, for purpose. His ashes were mixed with those of his beloved Patroclus, just as Patroclus had asked in his final dream. Together in death as they had been in life. The most powerful truth about Achilles is this: he knew, he always knew. His mother told him clearly, "Die young in glory or live long in obscurity." Achilles chose glory. He walked into the Trojan War with full knowledge of his fate. He fought anyway, he loved anyway, he grieved anyway. 3 things most people don't know about Achilles. 1, his original name was not Achilles, it was Ligamon. He was later renamed by his tutor Chiron. 2, Achilles had a son named Neoptolemus, born during his time disguised as a girl on Skyros. That son went on to become a warrior at Troy himself. 3, in the Iliad, Homer never actually describes Achilles' heel as his weakness. The heel story came from later texts. Homer's Achilles was killed with arrows to the body, not just the heel. Achilles died over 3,000 years ago. But his name lives in every language on Earth today. Every time a doctor says Achilles tendon, they speak his name. Every time someone mentions an Achilles heel, they honor his story. Brad Pitt played him in Troy in 2004. Madeline Miller's novel Song of Achilles won the Orange Prize in 2012. He appears in video games, comics, art, and film worldwide. Because Achilles showed us the most human truth of all. Your greatest strength and your greatest weakness almost always come from exactly the same place.